think it's going live. Should be live. Are we live? I think. Hope so. Can everyone see us? Hear us? Well, I guess Ben's not talking, but...
Oh yeah, hi everyone.
There you go. Hopefully you can hear that. And
Oh yeah, we're on.
yeah, you can hear us. Awesome. Awesome. We'll wait just a little bit and then we'll start up.
Cool. Recognizing some names in the chat.
Yeah, I recognise a couple and then I have like people I've never even heard of. You have the same chair, Matt? Oh yeah, it's a nice chair. Alright, awesome. Alright, and I think we are ready to start up. So,
Sounds good.
hello everyone, welcome to BWDev chat. This is episode 19, I think. I don't know which one it is, I don't even know. Today I'm talking to BWDev or Ben. Hello.
Hey Matt, how's it going?
I'm doing good, I'm doing good.
Awesome.
Have you been doing much today or are you just taking it like quite easy?
Well, so I joined the stream that Reese was doing earlier, obviously. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But otherwise just fixing machines that are breaking in my game.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, great fun, but...
I was looking at the devlogs and I was like, God, I wonder how many headaches that has caused.
Yeah, I know. Conveyor belts, absolute bane of my life.
Yeah, I could imagine. Yeah.
Dealing with it.
Well, awesome. So in case people don't know what BWDev chat is, basically we're just going to be talking about 3 or 4 different topics, and it's quite a chill stream. If you have any questions you want to ask them in the chat. And we'll get around to them after we talk about like whatever we're talking about. So if you feel like we're ignoring you, we're not ignoring you. We're just finishing up our conversation, then we'll answer it. So yeah, if you have any questions, fire away. And yeah, and also at the end we'll have a little section where you can ask more questions if you so wish. So yeah. So start off with, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. So, hi everyone, I'm Ben. Some of you might know me. I'm making a game called Lumbermill, which is a factory builder and sort of management game set in a Canadian forest, moving towards sort of island setting at the moment, which is something I've had in the pipeline for quite a long time, but only just sort of revealing that at the moment. But yeah, sort of a little bit about me, I guess.
Yeah.
Indie game developer.
No, really? Oh, that surprised me, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so I guess first off, so we got a few topics. So one of the topics we're going to talk about was building games in public. I thought that was quite a cool one.
Yep.
So what experience do you have with that?
I mean, so the devlogs were really the first thing.
Yeah.
Where I first started doing that. I'd always watch The Matrix.
Of course, yeah. I think every YouTuber, every game dev YouTuber has at least watched one Thin Matrix video.
Yeah,
it'd be wrong not to.
He's like the king of devlogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sort of watching his videos and Dave Frampton's The Sapiens series. I just thought that's a really cool way to just kind of get some, I guess, feedback on your ideas and also to build a sort of following for your game. So I just thought, you know what, I might as well try it for this project, which I've now started 4 times. I thought, might as well not wait, might as well just get on with it. So
yeah,
I mean, this was all pretty new to me 1.5 years ago. So
so like,
yeah,
you know, I watched the first devlog because I was just interested, right?
Yeah.
And I saw that one of your, like, you actually had, was it version 3? It was in 2017. So how long has Lumbermill sort of been, you know, in circulation, I suppose?
Yeah, so I've always liked the idea. I think years ago, like after finishing school, I just sat down one day and thought, I want to make a game over the next couple. There's a train going past, by the way, if you hear it.
No worries, can't hear it.
Right. All right, cool. So yeah, no, I finished 6th form, I think, or it might have been the first year of 6th form, and I thought, you know, this summer I'm going to just try and figure out how to make a game. So I sat down, wrote down some ideas. I wanted to make a management game. Never a good idea for your first sort of like big project, but
Yeah.
obviously being kind of new to it. I mean, I'd made games before, but this was sort of, I wanted to make a big project.
Right.
So that was, when was that? 4 or 5 years ago. Failed miserably.
Right. Yeah.
to make-
Yeah.
That was 3D. I couldn't do 3D modeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year I tried again, I think, this time with pixel art. Failed miserably. That crashed and burned. Next year I was at uni, so I had a bit more experience programming.
Right.
Made
So what
another
did you
3D
what did
version.
you study at uni then?
Computer science.
Right. Awesome. Yeah.
So I've had plenty of experience programming at this point, but like when I was starting this, making a management game was not a feasible thing for me
Right.
to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
but
No. Yeah.
You
That's
kind of
definitely-
gotta try it and discover.
Yeah, I think it's quite
but yeah.
interesting because some people they get into big projects straight away, and then other people get into small projects right away. Me
Yeah.
personally, I was one of the people that went into the small projects right away, making my way up. I think they both have their positives and negatives. On one hand, like, you know, the big projects, you know, when you get that done, that's awesome, amazing, right? But then on the other hand, like, it's a lot easier to crash and burn with it. But then
Exactly.
also you could also learn a lot from a big project. So it's sort of like I guess it's sort of
Sure.
a juggling act. But you know, for me, I was doing game jams for like a while. I started game dev 4 years ago, so you know I've been doing game jams for quite a while. Last year was the first time I properly tried making big projects. You know, failed miserably, so I was like, okay, back to game jams. Went to game jams for a bit, and then I realized what the problem was, which was like I didn't have a team, and for me, I feel like I like working solo, but having a little bit of someone else is quite helpful for me, because I knew what my sort of things that I was lacking, you know, and I think that's also really important as a game developer, is to know when you need help, like, and when you need like, you know, help from other people, because like some developers, they just sort of want to say, no, I can do it all, but you know, that could be pretty dangerous, because then, you know, you're doing everything. And you know, for me, I literally put out this shoddy ad. I'm talking, it was awful, like made in Photoshop. It looked awful. The color scheme was bland, and I said I needed an artist, which was quite apparent from the advert. But yeah,
I mean, it's a good ad for an artist, showing them your art and going,
this is why I need an artist, please. But yeah, so October was the sort of time we started making our first proper game, and now you know, 8 months later, or I guess 10 months now, we're getting super close to full release, which is just mad. Like, releasing in early access was just, you know, that was in itself pretty crazy. And then you know, getting these Xboxes, I got them yesterday. I got an email from Xbox, right? And I was like, oh, they'll come in 2 weeks. Because it said up to 2 weeks they'll deliver. So I was like, you know, 2 weeks, fine. Because, you know, you thought, there's no way they'll be delivering it fast. And literally, I got the email about 3 or 4 hours later, like, a delivery. Like, this giant box came through. And this was yesterday, right? And this, like, I just heard my mum, like, shuffling, like, this really large thing. I was like, what on earth is that sound? And I'm recording another podcast with someone else. Someone invited me on. So I'm just like, there's some weird shuffling. I'm trying to, like, focus on this podcast.
So these are development kit Xboxes, right?
Yeah. And then,
are they
like,
different? Do they look different?
A lot different. They're
just, like, massive.
They just look...
So that's what I've got in my head.
They look sci-fi. It is really cool. Like, one of them has like a little screen on it, and it's like uses it for like monitoring the performance and stuff, and you can actually play little games on there, which is mad.
Cool.
But you know, like the one of them has more RAM than my PC, so I'm there like, whoa,
How much are we talking?
24 gigabytes of RAM. It's mad.
Quite an unusual number, actually.
Yeah, it is a strange number, but yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't say it's very easy to port onto Xbox, but I think in the long run it's definitely good to get out there, I think.
I don't imagine Lumbermill will be making it to Xbox. Someone did ask me a couple of weeks ago, will there be a console version? I think it was Switch. I'm just thinking, I mean, there are management games on Switch.
I don't know. I feel like
I need to try them.
I feel like it has a place on PC. You know,
It's
like,
very much a PC game. Like,
Yeah.
I'm developing it as a PC game. If the off chance that someone goes, or like people actually want it on a console, maybe I'd consider it. But for now,
Yeah.
PC is the focus with
yeah.
like click to build sort of management game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like if you put it on console, it's less valued in a way, because like I feel like using a gamepad for trying to place things seems
True.
really cumbersome to me. I don't know. Could just be me,
No,
but,
no, I definitely agree with that.
People are saying in chat hashtag Lumbermill on Switch.
Lumbermill on Switch confirmed.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
actually, no, not confirmed. Don't get too excited.
But yeah, I mean, we tried to get it on Switch, and I tell you, God, I was surprised that Xbox was more like confirmed for it. Like, you know, they were a lot more open, and you would think Xbox would feel a bit more closed, but
Yeah.
I guess that's just sort of how you feel, because it feels like a bigger console in a weird way. Like, it feels bigger than a Nintendo Switch when you think about it. But then you also realize
It's a
that
big screen console. You do it on your big screen rather than little.
on this little handheld
For some
device.
reason, something psychological about that makes you think it's a bigger deal.
Yeah, but it is awesome though, and I think it is strange, sort of like looking back, like a few years ago. You probably have it as well, like, and thinking, God, I wasn't even thinking about doing YouTube back then. Like, it's mad, like, you know.
No. I think I just decided, like, the week before, I actually made another devlog which has 15 views on it. It's unlisted. It is absolutely awful. And I made it because I recorded my script all in one take, and you can hear me running out of breath where I just wasn't breathing. It's like 3 minutes where I'm just gradually getting quieter and quieter. It's awful. But it was a very last minute. Just like, I'm making a game, might as well chuck something on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that you develop a skill for it over time. Like, you definitely get better and better. That's no doubt about that. But you know, I think that it's definitely cool looking back though. Either way, like, even if it's like this awful devlog, it's definitely awesome. Like, looking back and going, wow, you know, looking at them now, they actually seem a little bit more professional.
Like looking at where the game has, much the game has
exactly.
come.
Yeah, and you're like,
I suspect like most of the code that was in those early games is probably now very well and truly gone.
Yeah,
but, I mean, the game's still the same core idea, but it's very different project now.
And obviously, you know, for you, like, you see a lot of devlogs out there, and they do, like, they always aim for above 10 minutes and stuff. And like, I always think it's quite interesting when you don't see people doing that, and like, you just get the content out that's actually required, and I think that's good. Like, you know, make sure it's like content, like, you know, heavy sort of thing. Not necessarily content heavy, but you know what I mean. Like, rather than having like these bits that you prolong for too long, like talking about how you fixed a bug or something. Like, nobody cares about bugs, let's be honest. Like, that's the thing. Like,
I mean, some bugs are quite fun, but
the fun bugs people like can laugh at, but like,
briefly,
people don't really care about like the bad things that go on. Like,
true.
I mean, I guess they kind of do, but it's like, sort of like, if you talk about it, then people are like, I'm not interested in the bug.
30 seconds of video could be 2 days of work sometimes, but I'm quite scared of prolonging things too much when I'm making a video, because obviously retention is very important on YouTube, so I'm very careful not to sort of linger too long on something that isn't necessarily too interesting.
And as you know, as we go along, people get less and less interested in videos, as like all the time. Like, they have a less attention span than they used to. Like, it's mad, you know. But I feel like it's good that because, you know, again, like, so many YouTubers focus on above the 10 minutes and stuff, and it's always people always sort of feel that way, which I feel like is just, I don't think that's, you know, it doesn't seem very Like, unless you can actually get content out there, like, non-stop, like, not, like, you know, prolonging it for 20 minutes or something for one little bit. Well, obviously not 20 minutes, but you know what I mean.
I mean, there's some YouTubers do it really well. Thin Matrix being the example, because he makes such chilled out, relaxing games.
Yeah, I think Thin Matrix is the sort of one that, like, the reason he does well is that, like, his videos have always been like that. Like, they've always been for 10 minutes, day by day sort of thing. And that's where the day by day devlog sort of kicked off, wasn't it? Like, you know, because you always sort of Monday today, and today I'm gonna, you know, everyone did that. And there's this certain phase. I tried it, yeah. And I just found it was just like, well, I could say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but like I could be not working on Tuesday, and you know,
I was making it up when I was doing it. I was just going, oh, today's Wednesday, when in reality I'm recording this on like a Sunday evening. And it's like not actually a Wednesday, but because that's what people are used to, I just thought that's what devlogs are. So I mean, I stopped that because it just felt ridiculous.
Yeah, it is mad. I feel like it's so different sort of seeing everyone's devlogs, because like, I feel like that's what makes me attracted to the different videos. Like, not like if I wanted to watch the same devlog, I'd watch the same guy. You know, like that sort of thing you would do. But like, I feel like taking something different from someone else is always really important. And like you know, like you're offering like these quick, you know, to the point devlogs. You don't have to, you know, if you're not interested, like at least it's only it doesn't always, it's not prolonged, right? That's what I've always like grabbed from your videos. Like the reason they do well for me is because they're not super boring. Like you can just like watch them, you know, and I do think that it's a skill that you gather up though, because like I feel like at the start, when you start off, it's sort of like you feel like you have to have it to 10 minutes. Like that, at least that's what. Well, when I started, it was the sort of thing that everyone was doing at 10 minutes. So I thought, oh, you have to make it 10 minutes long. But then I realized actually, people don't care about how long it is. They just care about what the content is. So you know,
definitely.
And if
I struggle personally to get it past. I think maybe I've got 1 or 2 videos past the 10-minute mark, and like, I really have to think, because I write all my scripts like word for word. A 10-minute script can be over 2,000 words long, and just I don't have enough words often to create a video that's over 10 minutes long, unless I spoke slower, which maybe I need to do. But
no, I feel like it's fine though. I feel like if you're consistent with it, then I don't think you need to necessarily worry about how long the videos are. Like if you were releasing them once a month, then 10 minutes is probably how you need to have it, you know, because if you're releasing once a month, people are going to be pretty pissed if you have a video for 3 minutes long, you know.
That's what I'm doing at the moment. Sorry, everyone, but I'm trying to get them out quicker, but
I feel like as you progress through development, it's harder and harder to do it once a week, definitely. Like
I'm trying to fit more and more into each one, and the things I'm trying to put in the game are a lot more complicated than what I was doing earlier on. So I'm putting a bit more thought into each video, which is hopefully translating to better videos, but also it means videos not so often. I mean, I was doing it weekly very early on. I think my first like 20 videos were probably a weekly deal. But then it was just a bit too frequent for me personally.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I feel like the videos that you put out, like I really enjoyed the island map video. I thought like that was the sort of, I don't know, it really, I really gravitated to that. I think that's just because I'm interested in that stuff. That could be it, maybe. Probably is actually, but you know,
I feel like procedural generation is always a great title.
Like people like
really interested.
Whoa,
that's why No Man's Sky was just everywhere when they were hyping it up.
It's
because, everything's procedural.
It's just like this big. It sounds really fancy too. Hear procedural generation. It sounds like you know what you're talking about, but like when you do game dev itself, and you try and search up procedural generation and you try and figure it out, you'll hear like Okay, Perlin noise. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like our game's randomly generated, not procedurally generated, and even that, like random generation, is still, still like hurts your mind. I had to rework a little bit of the system, because I wanted to put like seeds in the game, so like so that it could have the same level generation if every time you wanted it to. And it was mainly for us because for debugging that's really helpful, because someone could have this dungeon that doesn't generate at all, whereas someone could have a dungeon that goes on too much or whatever. And one of the bugs that we personally had was that there's this key that you need to get for each dungeon, and you need to unlock like the rooms to get through to like the boss fight, right? And at the end of the boss fight you go to the next dungeon. And that's like literally that was the most hard thing to work with, because sometimes people wouldn't actually get the key and they would just be in this dungeon locked in, and we were like, all right, we have to do something about it. So working with
you do need to guide the code in a way so that it guarantees certain features will always be there, which can be tricky sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like I don't even know what it was anymore, but that I feel like the seed thing will definitely help it out, but again, I could be wrong because we haven't even released the update yet, so it's completely hard to know. But the hope is that it will help out a hell of a lot. But yeah, like it is mad. Like just sort of looking back at like the previous development, we have every build of the game. Well, I have every build of the game on my PC, so you can imagine there's this folder called Millions and Minions, and you'd think it's about 300 megabytes each build, right? So there's these builds, and it probably takes up about, I'd say, upwards of 20 gigabytes probably, and it's just mad. When that game's quite small as well, and then you actually you go into it and there's like loads, then it's like it really takes up a lot, which is mad. But yeah, I feel like it's fun.
I don't know, do you want to continue with the building games in public thing? I mean, I've got a couple of things that
go for it.
Yeah, I mean, just the main thing really about choosing to build games in public is it opens the doors to a lot of feedback. Which I feel like a lot of indie developers go down the route of being very secretive and then going for a big marketing push later on. I can't see that working for me personally, but also just I find it so incredibly useful being able to hear what people's thoughts are. Obviously, you got to be very selective about what people say and what you take on. Mark Brown did a really great video on that. You can have a very vocal minority, and you got to be careful to not let that steer your game in the wrong direction. But if you use it the right way, sorry, my voice cracked there.
No worries.
You can your game can really improve, and I think Lumbermill is quite a different game really to how it maybe would have been. I feel like confident I would have made a decent game, but
it would still be a lot different.
Having loads of opinions to sort of hear from as I make the game is just so helpful, and it also helps to sort of know what feature are people most looking forward to next, and what do I need to focus my energy on as well.
For us, our development has been quite secretive, and that was our problem, and it's sort of like it was something that I wanted to do, but I didn't really know how to make devlogs on it because it just sort of felt like that sort of game. And I guess like for us, instead of doing it in public, obviously we were doing it privately, and we were just contacting like content creators and stuff. But it's definitely safe to say that going public with it is a lot better. It's definitely something. If I could go back in time to like when we first started, that would be something that I would definitely change. I would be definitely doing it publicly, which is a bit of a shame. But I feel like it's still sort of something that we can just about get away with. And I feel like if we can it's definitely sort of something that you just have to think. If you're gonna do it privately, how are you gonna market it? You know, that's like
Yeah, I
super
mean the
important.
marketing thing, but you also kind of the consideration needs to be there about copyright. Like when I started this, my end goal for when this game releases was 1,000 subs. Then the game will go out. But when you've got a slightly bigger audience, you kind of need to think about what if someone comes along and makes the same game.
Right, yeah.
BWDev is the perfect example of that. I mean, I'm not going to say anything now, but someone else came along and essentially made his game and did it better in a week, and he's been doing it for like 4 years or something.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's 6 years now, yeah. No. Every time you look, you're like, yeah, still working on it. Yeah, I personally couldn't work on a game for more than a few years. I think I'd just lose my mind. I feel like 3 years on I'm talking like one project, like not like, you know, different versions, like different versions can be like in that 3-year period, I feel. No, like outside of that 3-year period, sorry. Like just for one version, like if it took me 3 years for that one version, then like I feel like that would be just about fine. But like if for one version I spent 4 or 5 years on it, I feel like I'd get so bored. I know,
yeah.
Like, have you found that at all with your game? Have you felt like?
I mean, at times you think you question after a while, is this a good idea? But because each feature in the game is very much, it could be an entire game in itself. Like, I'll spend more time on one feature in Lumbermill than I will, obviously, on a game jam game.
Yeah.
So it keeps things quite interesting. With a management game, you've got so many different aspects that are all very different to implement. That I don't know. It's still very much interesting to me, and I'm still very keen to work on it.
Yeah.
Speaking of like games that have taken a long time, Stardew Valley.
How long that took. Didn't that take? I think that took 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, I've forgotten his name, but he was getting super stressed by the end and just absolutely sick of the game. But I mean, sometimes it pays off. Obviously.
Yeah. I think he was a secretive developer. You know.
He was.
Like I think, although, wasn't he doing blogs though? I think. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but he got signed to Chucklefish.
Yeah.
Which are quite I mean, now they're a big publisher.
Yeah, very
I don't know where they were
respectable,
at the time. But they gave him the sort of time and money to be able to really market the game. And he was doing blogs, I think, and he built up quite a lot of hype around that. But yeah, then again, that's building in public, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like it's just crazy because like now, like beforehand, he didn't really have that sort of like when I started out, there wasn't really many devlogs at all. Like actually, in fact, the only one that was doing it was Thin Matrix, because you know Blackthorn Prod didn't actually do devlogs for a while. I'm pretty sure. At least that's what I remember. I only remember Thin Matrix devlogs, and even those, I think he was very early in Aquilinox when I started out.
Yeah. Those early videos are so good though. I watched them a little while ago. It was just like thinking, this is why I do it. Like, it's so cool to see that journey.
Yeah, and I'd say when I was watching them, and like you watch it every time he makes video, like every time I see his video come up, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna sit down, eat my lunch. I'm gonna just sort of take a break. Like that is the best, and I feel like it's just it when I saw his game releasing. Like when he made that video that his game is released, it sort of felt like a victory for me as well. I was like, yes.
But also like, no more Aquilinox.
I know. I was just like, whoa, man. That was a great project though. Like that is like, it is definitely awesome. But like, I wonder how many of his viewers actually bought the game. Like that is what would be interesting to know, because I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked on Steam Spy. I don't know whether you've ever gone on there. It gives you a general idea of how many copies, and he obviously did well enough to keep doing this as a job.
Yeah.
Obviously he's got Patreon and ad revenue to help, but I think Aquilinox did pretty well. You often see it on sales and stuff, and it can make its way onto like some of the higher ranked spots on Steam sometimes. So like that could be just because I've looked at it a few times, but it's definitely like, it's done pretty well.
Yeah, like it is interesting. Like I wonder, like if his, like, obviously his development in public was definitely a success, right? There's no doubt about it, because he inspired so many. And I don't think,
Yeah.
I bet he realizes that now. Like, I'm sure he probably knows how many people he's inspired. Like, he's
you just have to scroll down his comments section.
Yeah,
It's just like loads of people. Oh, I started a devlog because of you.
And he actually,
I was one of those people.
I was too.
He commented on my first video. I was just so hyped.
Oh man,
Put me in a good mood for the rest of the week.
Yeah, he actually follows me on Twitter. So what I might try and do, like, he even said, he went on to our Twitch. Like, we were streaming Millions of Minions, right? We were streaming the release day. It was the launch, and he came into the Twitch and he said, "Good luck on launch." And I was like,
nice.
Like, at first I was like, "Is that really him though?" And then I saw a tweet, like, on like a Twitter notification, and it was him, and I was like, okay, that's pretty mad. So maybe if I'm lucky, I'll try and get him on here again.
Yeah, do it.
So, like, before Blackthorn Prod, before anyone actually, he was one of the first people I was like, oh yeah, I'll get him on. And he's probably the reason why I started this podcast, actually. Like, he's like the goal to get on the podcast, you know? Like, I've got so many devs on here, it's just mad. But like, I feel like it would be awesome if I could get Thin Matrix, and I might try and get Thomas Brush in again, because I feel like I'm sort of getting up there now. Like, it's definitely tough, but like, you know, it is cool though, because those are still my those are my aspirations, and like I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be them. Like, I feel like Thomas Brush is also the sort of guy you'd sort of be like, damn, that's the sort of thing I want to do. You know, I want to release
stuff.
Yeah, I feel like his content, you can draw so much from it, and
definitely,
I feel like his content's just he talks so openly about it, like about his work, and I feel like that's quite inspirational. You want to sort of be like that sort of thing, and I think it's mad. But so I feel like we should move on to another topic. So
sure thing.
What about playing games critically? So this is something that I've definitely done a lot in my game dev career. So for me, do you have like it where when you're playing games you tend to analyze them? Like, I'm not sure if that's like a game dev curse, you know?
I use it as an excuse for why I'm not good at games.
No, exactly. Yeah, I play multiplayer games.
Shooters.
Yeah,
so I go, oh no, guys, I'm looking at the game design.
Yeah, I'm just admiring the UI.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think I'm just bad at shooters. But I do definitely look at games in a very different way to how I used to. Thinking about, like, I was speaking to, I think he might be here, my friend earlier, about The Witcher. Obviously, The Witcher 3 being a very divisive game. Like, some people consider it the best game ever made. Others consider it like an embarrassment and all this. And I disagree with those people personally. But it's very interesting talking to someone that's got a different opinion to me about the game design, and sort of, it's made me think maybe I need to go back and rethink how the game played, and sort of try and figure out more about what I liked and what maybe could be improved, because I think that's very important, like when you're playing, to think what makes this good. So I was playing God of War a couple of days ago, and he's got this axe, the Leviathan axe. It's one of my favorite mechanics in a game.
Oh, it is awesome, yeah.
You can chuck it and recoil it, and it like makes the most satisfying sound.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And you've just got to think about that, like, the thing that makes that satisfying is really the sound design.
Yeah, and the animation, because his whole body like gets like shifted back.
Yeah, there's the sort of telegraph action.
And you can sort of like, you sort of feel like that's very accurate to what it would be. And then it's also like, where do you draw the line of accuracy in games? Because, you know, like, some games are super, super accurate, and then it's like, are they too accurate, or are they perfect? You know, like that. For me, I feel like I feel like as graphics get more and more like advanced, I feel like that's something that we're starting to lose our touch on actual game design rather than like graphics. Like obviously, you know, we can have there are loads of games that are amazing with like good graphics and stuff, but there are a lot of games that focus so heavily on graphics to the point where you're getting 30 frames per second, and then it's like, you know, are you ruining the experience because of that design choice? Because it's a design choice, isn't it? So it's like,
absolutely.
You know, one of the games I'm thinking when I'm saying this is like Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, I'm not sure if you've... Yeah. And that game is... that game's beautiful. And it's got such a unique idea as well. And I feel like that's what probably...
I completely agree with that. Like, I remember playing that thinking, this game is stunning, but I don't feel as much a part of the world in this game as I have in other open world games that have come before it. It felt very much sort of like a clone, but with incredible setting. Like, that is one of the coolest video game settings, I think. But I don't think they did like the questing and everything enough justice, or made the gameplay, the core gameplay, as good. I mean, the combat was interesting, where you had to hit.
That was fun.
Different.
I feel
like pressure points.
I feel like Assassin's Creed's also a good one, because that game's definitely lost its touch. Like,
I mean, Odyssey was not an Assassin's Creed game.
It was good. and Valhalla is also probably going to be pretty similar to that. Like, because I feel like, for me, the Hidden Blade is always something that I always associate with Assassin's Creed, and like the jumping off the buildings and like, you know, going full force into it. And I feel like they focus too much on that weird story that they've got going. Like, I feel like that's something that they think is a good idea, but when I'm playing it, I don't feel attached to any of the characters really. Like now, like I don't feel like they're very. The game feels too much like an RPG. Like, and I think that's
from where it was.
And I feel like that's, for some ways, that's a good thing, but then also like in other ways, they I feel like they need to realize that, like, because obviously they're trying to get more of an audience. That's what they're doing. They're trying to get audiences from other sort of like angles, I guess. And that's why they're doing it like that. But for me, I feel like if you change the actual core idea of the game, then it doesn't. The people that were previously there aren't going to be as interested as the new people that are now getting interested. Like, you know, there could be people that have never heard of Assassin's Creed. You know, I mean, I don't know, there could be, but you know, like, it's just for me, someone just said in chat, I love the Assassin's Creed games, but I don't get how a Viking brute is considered an assassin. And
I just wonder how the free running aspect is going to come into a setting where everything was little huts in Norway.
What do you like? Jump on the little wooden huts, you know?
Yeah, you're gonna jump onto a hut and then there's gonna be a gap and you're gonna jump back down again. Whereas you have those like Italian settings where it's like lots of cobbled roofs and everything, and that's what I think of when I think of Assassin's Creed. But I mean, the recent open world RPG games have been good, but they've not felt like Assassin's Creed.
I feel like that's the big thing. They don't feel like Assassin's Creed. They're good games, but they don't feel like Assassin's Creed at all. Like, I feel like they're just trying to hold on to the IP as much as they can, when like really
Ubisoft.
It feels like a new IP really. I feel like they should have rebranded it, but you know, now that they've gone this route, you can't really change it, I guess. But it's like you know, Origins, Odyssey, and you know, again Valhalla probably be the same. Like, they just don't. They feel like their own different trilogy. Like, you know, that's what I feel like they are. Like, and I wonder, like, because you know, Assassin's Creed like 3 is the one that I think was like Assassin's Creed. Like, when I think of Assassin's Creed, that's Assassin's Creed.
The American one.
I can't remember what one it was.
Assassin's Creed 3.
I think it was. God, I don't know. It's one of the old ones. You know,
AC3 was the colonial one. It was pretty cool.
I think it was either AC2 or AC3. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like after Black Flag, that one was quite cool. But that one didn't feel as That
It was
sort
starting
of,
to drift at that point, but I
yeah.
think Black Flag is.
Oh yeah, no.
Personally, I think Black Flag was the peak of the series, but
Yeah,
other
no.
people obviously might disagree with
Yeah,
that.
no. I feel like it
Um,
was definitely. It brought me the most amount of entertainment, but
yeah.
like from an actual what is Assassin's Creed, like before that feels like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, yeah.
But maybe like it's good that they're sort of veering away in some sort of setting. I feel like it's just
It's going to evolve,
yeah,
but yeah, it's
like there's no
how much it
parkour
evolves.
anymore. That's what's
You
so.
can, but yeah, I
It's
get what you
not
mean.
really
Like
like it doesn't feel like the focus. Well, it's not the
it's not
focus.
necessarily central. Although there was one cool thing. It must have been Origins where you could climb up the Lighthouse of Alexandria.
Yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah,
so cool. Like,
yeah. I
but
liked that. Yeah,
yeah, it's losing its identity a little bit, I guess.
yeah. I mean, I feel like that's something that they'll definitely. I feel like they'll probably rethink it over time, and they might go back because that's what AAA always does. You know, they always like if something goes really well for them, then they'll continue it for as long as they can. Like, look at Call of Duty. Look how
Yeah.
long that's been going. You know,
I
that
know.
one. What is it now?
It's
Like,
quite a success. That
I
series,
I don't even know what one it is now. But yeah,
yeah, I love. I mean, COD 6 was the one that I feel like people weren't calling Black Ops COD 7, but I mean, yeah, Call of Duty 6, Modern Warfare 2 was just that was like all I played when I was in early secondary school. It was
Yeah.
so good.
yeah,
Some of those multiplayer maps are just like ingrained in my head.
yeah. And I
But
feel like
sorry, yeah,
yeah, I feel like now it's sort of that one also has changed a lot. Like
yeah,
I feel like what's that one? I don't even know. Advanced Warfare. That felt really
Yeah.
different. I was like, whoa,
all the wall running. And
why have we got
all that.
wall running now? And I feel like that
Yeah.
that was pretty okay. I think it sort of got away with it. But now what is it? Assassin's Creed, not Assassin's Creed, Jesus. What is it now? Like Warzone, isn't it?
Warzone's a cool take on.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really give my
Battle
take on it.
Royale.
I haven't even tried it.
Yeah,
Well, I tried. Was it Black Ops 3? Was that the one that had?
just multiplayer, that one, I think.
Was it? I can't remember what one had Blackout. One of them had it.
Oh yeah, that one, I think.
Is it 3 or 4? I don't know. One of them. But either way, you know, again, that shows that I've lost my touch with it.
Yeah.
Like for me, I think it was Black Ops 3 that I really enjoyed with my friends, because that was also something that I was sort of, as I was younger, like that's something I was playing with my friends, and I thought that's quite cool actually, like because all of us have different. Because I think everyone's played a COD. I think it would be like at least once in their life someone's touched it, you know,
Yeah.
and I feel like for me, you know, my Call of Duty is Black Ops 3 because that was the sort of one that I played with my friends. But I don't feel like it was necessarily good. I just feel like it was definitely fun.
Yeah, I mean, the shooting mechanics are very solid, and like the sounds and everything.
Well, actually, I think that's something
get that hit
like-
marker, it's just so satisfying.
Oh yeah,
So
like
they really nailed that. I don't think it's lost that, but yeah.
I feel like Blackout. When I played Blackout with my friend, after that I was like, yeah, Call of Duty's like not Call of Duty to me anymore. The recoil felt really weird to me. Like it felt like
Okay.
backwards.
I didn't play it, though.
Like you know how recoil should make your gun go up. It made my gun go down, and I was like,
Weird.
I was just like, this isn't
Got how guns work.
this isn't how guns really should operate. If they're going left and right and down, that's something wrong. Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
another thing I'm just thinking, like when you're playing as a game developer, playing games, I don't know, it might just be from a programmer's perspective, but I try and think, how could this be implemented?
yes.
Roller Coaster Tycoon. I just like Chris Sawyer making Roller Coaster Tycoon. That guy is a genius. Like he coded these games in assembly language, and I'm just trying to think, like, how could I make anything even close to how clever that game was?
Yeah.
And I try and when I'm playing those games, think, maybe like how would this work? Like how does the roller coaster construction system work, and how can I learn from that without necessarily being able to look at the code? I find that important personally as a programmer.
Yeah, I feel like that's also how you can sort of see how well you've like learned, like how far you've come and stuff. When you look at like other things in games and you know how you could sort of go about doing it. You know, like that's the whole like abstraction and stuff, isn't it? And like focusing on the important things. And I feel like it's really cool when you sort of know it as well. Like you think you know it, because let's be honest, like you don't actually know it, but like not necessarily. Like you sort of feel like maybe you know how you would do it. But
I mean, well, Factorio is a good example, obviously, because I'm making this factory builder game essentially.
Yeah.
You look at Factorio and think, oh, how could this work? And then 4 iterations later, I'm probably on something entirely different to what they're doing, but it's starting to work a bit better. But like the first time when I looked at it and thought, oh, this could work, you realize there are so many more things involved with stuff like machines and conveyor belts that you don't realize until your 4 version.
Yeah. I feel like it's quite funny whenever you're in like real life. Like, I'm not sure if you have this, but like sometimes you sort of look at something and you'll think that could be made into a game. Like it's definitely something that's passed by my mind a couple of times, and it's funny.
Sometimes I'm looking at, I'm thinking, oh, that draw distance.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny.
That's not 3D modeled, but your like head's just in game.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, look at those water shaders. Whoa, how they done that? That ray tracing. Yeah.
If we are in a simulation, this PC must be pretty insane.
Yeah, it must have like
it's RTX got to have at least
9000s. Yeah, it's mad. Yeah. I think it is it's something you sort of start accidentally doing. Like you accidentally start analyzing, because you don't initially start, like you don't want to necessarily analyze a game. Like sometimes you do, like especially now, like I sort of started to like accept the fact that I like to do it, but previously I didn't actually like to I didn't like analyzing it because I couldn't play the game properly. And then as I got more invested into making games, I started enjoying the whole like analyzing the games, because I learned stuff from analyzing games, which is kind of interesting. But yeah,
I mean, I think that's what makes GMTK such a good channel, is he's got a really good eye for analyzing these things and sort of just explaining what the developer's done in a really clear way. I mean, as he's not even a game developer, but
yeah,
he knows more about game design than most game developers do.
Yeah, so and I feel like that's just because that's what his sort of goal is, I reckon. I feel like for us, our goal isn't necessarily to analyze a game; it's to, make games. That's what our goal is. So I guess the fact that he's like analyzing it is a lot. Like, that's his job. Like whenever I look at GMTK, I'm like, dang, he spent hours trying to figure this out. Like, what was it? Like his was it School of Stealth? I think it was. I really liked those. I thought those were really cool. Like I was like, dang, he's literally, his part of his job is to play games and just like write down points that are important. And I feel like he's helped so much as well. Like, I think for everyone, he's sort of been definitely a big help to a lot of game developers, especially as you get more and more into game development. Because when you're starting out, obviously you're less accepting to help. I feel like you don't really want to. Like, I was talking to someone the other week or something. I think it was the other week. And we were talking about how like when you start out, you like sort of act like you know everything, like, and like when you as you get further and further on, you look back and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like someone talks about, I don't know, let's say a topic you never heard of before. And you're like, yeah, I know about that. And then you look back and you're like, oh no, now I actually
did
need,
not.
and now I actually
Yeah.
need to find out what that is. You know, it always comes to haunt you. Like you try and find out how
Yeah.
you can actually make it work, which is crazy.
I mean, yeah, I look back at some of my old videos and I'm thinking, I thought I knew what I was talking about at that point, but then I think there's no way I would do it like that now.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's so much I've learned through doing this project and the other ones I've done since I started. Like, I just think, yeah, it's weird seeing like how naive, I guess,
yeah,
I was. Not necessarily naive, I just didn't know stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely interesting.
It was funny. So I feel like now we should ask the chat, like, if they've got any questions, because we're we're cutting short on time now. It's 50 minutes in somehow. I don't even know how. But yeah, so if anyone has any questions for me or Ben, just ask away. I'm just gonna quickly turn on my light. It's getting like real dark.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's mine. If anyone in the chat wants to say if it's too dark, let me know because I can't really do anything about it, but I'll say sorry. So yeah, blue guitar in the background. That is a Telecaster, but it's not a normal Telecaster. It's made by G&L, which was Leo Fender's company after he sold Fender. So I love that guitar. It's like one of my favorite possessions. Am I from Southeast England? Yes, I am. Nicely guessed. Or did someone tell you? Oh, you also from Southeast England?
Yeah.
Just gonna find out you're like living across the street.
Hi, Ben. What's your favorite kind of conveyor belt?
My favorite type of conveyor belt. I did quite a bit of research into conveyor belts
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple of weeks ago. There's some pretty cool, some pretty cool conveyor belt technology, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I think my favorites are rubber conveyor belts because I've got a bit of a game with them in.
Really?
But I mean,
Oh.
some cool ones out there, I gotta say. I don't know. Do you want me to just read them and
I don't mind.
answer that way, or do you want to read them? I don't.
Why don't devlog devs do any collaborations? I'd love to work on Sapiens, Carlson, or Lumberbelt, but I can never get a bite at all. I think that is mainly because that we're showing off our games and we don't really want to give up our projects for other people. I feel like that's probably what it is. Music preference. Ooh.
My game is a solo project, and I set out for. I'd feel quite upset with myself if I get to the end and I've got other names on my credits in a weird way.
Yeah.
Just because I'm trying to prove something to myself, kind of.
Right.
So I know others have made games themselves, and I feel like I can do that.
Yeah.
Music preference. So my music taste is quite wide ranging, but I tend to sort of veer towards folk music, indie folk. Lots of acoustic guitars, obviously. I love my guitar in the background. Bon Iver, I don't know whether you've heard.
No idea.
Bon Iver. It's like indie folk, sort of slight electronic things going on.
Yeah.
That sort of side of things, but yeah, I listen to a wide range. What's your music preference, Matt?
Yeah, a wide range. I listen to a lot of. I don't even know what you call it. It's like, is it indie pop? Is that what it is? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Like I like Housey and stuff like that. That's my.
I don't know Housey, but I'll say yeah. Like
yes. My dudes, we should have a game dev meetup in London. Yeah, I mean,
oh yeah,
that could be quite interesting. Any hidden talents?
Like 2 people will turn up, but it'll be like we can get a Starbucks. That'd be good. Do you think computer science? I'm guessing you meant computer science degree was worth the time and effort. Yes, 100%. I feel like I've learned a lot. It's not just necessarily about the programming. There's a very heavy sort of focus on how you work with other people, and you learn topics that you wouldn't necessarily be interested in yourself, which is actually very helpful because there's some things that I've been able to use in my game development that I wouldn't otherwise have learned if I
Yeah.
hadn't done the degree.
Yeah.
And it's also just good to have that under your belt, I guess.
Yeah.
Although not necessarily necessary, I guess.
Yeah. How do you deal with procrastination? Ooh.
I do procrastinate, but I find as soon as I start procrastinating, I'll stop procrastinating and
Right,
go
yeah.
procrastinate else. No, like I'll stop whatever I'm doing. I'll go out, get on my bike, go for a bike ride, and I find like getting at some decent exercise in really helps.
Yeah.
If you're stuck, because you kind of come back with a bit more motivation and you can sit down and just go, right, what am I procrastinating about? Write down how you solve the problem, and then that kind of solves it for me personally.
Yeah,
I find having pen and paper on my desk at all times is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a day goes by when I don't like fill a page at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like also for me what helps is I always leave a task for the next day. Like I'll do about halfway through I'll do about halfway through a task before I need to sleep, and then I'll stop, because then when I wake up I'll think of it like a solution, and then I'll start up again, and it always keeps me motivated because I always have that task to complete. Yeah.
Yeah, I find because obviously my videos tend to be on a very specific topic about the game. In between videos, I struggle a little bit because that's when I need to decide, what do I do next? What does the game need next? And that's not always an easy decision to make, but sort of I'll finish the video, then that evening, as Matt said, like decide what I'm going to do tomorrow, and then just get on with it.
Yeah, and I think also for me, like paper is actually it should be used a lot more. It's very helpful. I always have post-it notes like on the side of my or actually it's on the bottom of my monitors. I usually have it where like I'll write down about 4 things that I want to do on that day, and every time I'll do it, I'll cross it off or like take it off, and it's always really cool. Like when you just take it off and you're like, yes, that's a good task, you know. And it seems a lot better for me than just using Trello and stuff, because Trello doesn't have that same sort. You don't feel impacted really by it. Like if you complete a task, you could be like, yes, you know, you did it. But like when it's like you're taking something off, it feels like you've actually taken something off your shoulders, sort of thing. Yeah.
A little reward for yourself, I guess. That's my rewarding myself action. What else? I can't scroll because my mouse.
Ollie said, I just graduated from a computer science course. You have to learn a surprisingly large amount about how teams work, how to present yourself in your code, and other useful things. Yeah,
absolutely. And congrats, Ollie. That's really cool.
For Lumber Mill, have you built the economy in a spreadsheet to check it works?
No. So, the way the trade worked before isn't quite how I want it to be. So that's an upcoming project for me, is just getting the trade working exactly how I want it. And yeah, maybe doing something in a spreadsheet would be a good way of going about it. But yeah, no, trade as it was a couple of videos ago won't be in the game soon. So
yeah.
Ooh.
Dice said, I've never seen any Lumber Mill devlogs before. If you had to sell your game using 3 words, both for Lumber Mill and Millions of Minions, how would you describe your games? Oh, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
I'll say no primitive weaponry. I feel like that could maybe 3 words.
Canadian forestry mayhem.
There you go. Wow. Well, he sold it much better.
It's not mayhem, but like that's a good word.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah. Oh, I have a question. How are you doing? I'm doing good.
I'm doing
Beta.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. If anyone has any other questions, put them out in the chat, and we'll finish up in about 5 minutes or so. Thoughts about the coronavirus? Don't know.
I mean, it's been going on for a long time. I don't know. I feel I've run out of thoughts about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I am ready to be over.
Yeah.
Frankly,
it's bad. That's I don't know.
not good.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds cool. I'll check out the devlogs. There you go. You got
Hey.
someone.
Cool.
What percentage
Enjoy. Hope
of
you enjoy.
games so you drop? So you drop? What percentage of games so you drop? What day is it? It's Wednesday.
My dudes.
Exactly.
How do I go about making my videos? Good question. I record as I develop.
Yeah.
If you've watched my videos, I show the process as I'm doing it.
Mhm.
So I record as I develop. Then I'll sit down and write a script based on the clips I've got. And then smush it all together at the end, I guess. Really.
Yeah. I mean, I asked exactly the same question to Ben because I'm out of the loop with devlogs, so I asked him how to help, and yeah.
I mean, everyone does it differently, but that works for me personally.
Yeah. I've got my own style, so I just merge it in, and then it works. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sounds good.
so he basically asked, what percentage of games do you drop? So, I mean, I don't know. I don't really say I work on that many new projects anymore. I used to do a bunch of new projects, but now I stick to my project. So, I'd say now 0%. No, it's probably about.
Yeah,
It's probably
the only project I've dropped in the last couple of years is Lumbermill 3 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because whenever I make a game outside of that, it tends to be, well, I made one for my dissertation at uni, and I've done a couple of game jams, really.
Yeah.
But you can't really drop game jams unless you just don't have an idea. So those games have got completed and they work. So yeah, Lumbermill is the only game I've dropped in the last couple of years, essentially. Weirdly.
Higher, and a question for both, I'd guess. What's the biggest struggle you guys face during development? Any barrier, so to say? Biggest struggle. Working with other. No, I'm joking. I'm alright with that one. That'd be a bit bad if I was working in a team I couldn't work with others. I'd probably say for me, it's probably dealing with people that don't want to do the work. Because I'm responsible for a lot of the team management, and that's something that it's very tough, because when you're not earning that much money, it's very difficult to keep people motivated. So I'd say that's the hardest thing.
Okay, cool. I think sometimes I find the most frequent problem I have is worrying, like, is this video that I've just made going to be well received? The last couple of ones I thought, oh, these are crap videos. And then people have gone, oh, I love these ideas. So it's I think, it's something that's hard as being in the sort of unique position that I'm in, is actually releasing these videos, getting them out in time, getting them out as soon as possible, and then wondering what the reception's going to be, I guess.
Yeah. How long does it take you to get a video done? For example, writing scripts, recording, and editing voice, etc. Because I feel like I spend way longer than others.
Collecting clips will take a couple of weeks, and then as I'm making the clips, I name them, number them, so I don't have to worry about any of that organization when I get to the editing process. But then at that point, I'll sit down one evening, write the script. That tends to be at 1,500 words, but I can do that in one sitting. That can take an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because it's something I'm comfortable writing about.
Yeah.
But then the editing process is what takes the longest. It can take 1-2 days, up to 3 days sometimes.
Exactly.
If I'm being particularly picky about things.
Yeah.
Which I'd try to be.
What headphones are you using?
1 second, let me check. They are AKG K702s. They're mastering headphones, open back, so they're very good for listening to music. If you record music, you get a very sort of open, clear sound. They're not really meant for this. You might be picking up that through the.
Luckily, we can't.
Yeah, but yeah, they're really good headphones. Definitely recommend.
did you always like the idea of making video games, or did you just one day say, hey, this looks interesting, maybe I'll try it?
It was a weird situation. I started with animations in Flash, and then I discovered buttons were a thing in Flash, and just made a bunch of games that were literally just buttons, but very much hard-coded stuff.
Yeah.
But something about that was just very addictive, so I just picked up Unity at some point and have gradually found my way into doing this full time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You randomly popped up in my recommendations. Well, that's good.
Glad to hear it, Hugo. Welcome to the stream.
Alright, I'm gonna go now. Sorry I couldn't stay long, but congrats on almost 2,000 subs. Thank you, Beta.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Holy shit, just noticed this has been going on for an entire hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone also said...
I mean, we could answer one or two more and then...
Yeah. Someone said, I'm always so excited when you release a video, no matter what's in it. I love watching your videos. That's what they say to you, Ben.
Oh, thank you. I've been saying it to you, Matt, as well.
How much money do you earn with your games? I've made approximately $20. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't.
Steam is...
Well, it's not really. So like with Steam, so we made the stupid choice to release on the 30th of last month. Now, what Steam does is they take whatever money you've made in that month, and then they give you the money the next month on the 30th of that month. So we actually made. Steam came back to us and they said we've made no money because it takes like a day for it to go through anyway. So by the time it was on the day, it was like whatever it was. So it was like after the 30th of June. So you know that was it was like the 1st of July. So you know now we're on to the next month. So we won't get it until next month on the 30th, which is quite mad. God. Yeah, but it also just means there's more time to make money, so it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Me personally, you can check out my Patreon. I make some money on Patreon, and then ad revenue, I make £40 per video. It's not much.
Yeah.
But then there's also, you can do sponsored videos and stuff. I've not sold a game yet. Lumbermill would be my first commercial game. I tend to just chuck stuff up for free on itch recently. So yeah, that's my ad revenue at Patreon. You can look there if you're that interested.
Yeah, so I think that's all the questions. And if there's anyone that you'd like to see on the podcast, put it in the chat and I'll see if I can contact them. I'm trying to get as many prepared as possible. That's the idea. So yeah, if you want that to happen, put their name in the chat and then I'll figure something out with them if I can. If I can, that's the big thing.
Oh, and if you've come from my Discord or something, subscribe to Matt, everyone. Oh wait, no, webcam's up here. I was pointing at my other screen. There you go.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, do devduck. I've already spoken to devduck. I honestly think Rob Lang would make for a very interesting chat. Alright, I'll see what I can do. But yeah, thanks everyone, and...
New subscriber?
Oh, we seem to have got a new subscriber. Oh no, quick! I'm gonna get alerts on my OBS, it's like starting to come through. Alright, yeah, again, thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next one.